Hey, I'm gonna walk you through a scenario, and I want you to tell me how it makes you feel. This is Booker. Booker is your average Robloxian guy who lives in a happy town with his friendly neighbors. He lives a simplistic life and never really encounters any trouble or oddities. He's always happy. He happens to be a little bit of a sneaky guy though, and he's always trying to steal markers to draw with. His usual canvas happens to be his arms. He's a little silly. He's adored by almost everyone in the neighborhood, and everyone seems to be watching over him. Sounds nice, right? Well, what if I told you that I lied when I said he was always happy? What if I told you he's suffering and trying to cover his own tracks with delusions? What if I told you everyone around him notices, but he just can't see it? What if I told you that the markers he uses on his arms aren't markers? There's something sharp. Something you know. He cut too deep. Feel uneasy, sad, any negative emotions? Good. This is what you're supposed to feel. Welcome to the realm of Roblox psychological-based games. Hello everybody, my name is Gamer. You probably know me if you've been snooping on my channel for years now. You also probably know that I don't typically make content like this unless I'm really bored. To which case, I am. I also don't usually write scripts for my videos, but since this is a lengthy analysis smart person video, I kinda have to, or I'll sound as stupid as I usually do. This time though, I'm also filled with passion. A passion to share my thoughts on what I think makes a good psychological-based horror game here on Roblox. What's a psychological-based horror game on Roblox, you ask? Ha! Loser. You didn't pay attention to, or you skipped the entire whole intro. Get out of here, faker, fake fan. I'm joking. Either way, let me give you a walk down the wedding aisle, and let me tell you what a psychological-based horror game, or psychological-based Roblox game, even is. A psychological-based Roblox game is a game that usually focuses or centers around mental health or emotional health, and sometimes even gives support to it. Believe it or not, these games are actually very popular on the Roblox platform, some of which you've probably already seen and even played. Let me list some of the more popular examples of this genre. Let Him Go, Oobja, which I showed previously in the video, Happy World with Happy People, even though that one is technically just a myth, it still counts. And the most famous example of all, the kicker of the entire genre, Jim's Computer! Yep, you heard me right, the one game that started the whole retro slop genre was the same game that produced a whole new genre of mental health-based games on the platform. Yes, there was probably more psychological-based games on that platform before Jim's Computer, but Jim's Computer is what really kicked off the genre itself. Ever since old Jimmy-O hit the hay there, it's been nothing but peak for all the mental health rap lovers on Roblox, me included. Well, actually, I wouldn't say nothing but peak. Maybe there have been a few exceptions here and there. We'll get back to that later. But quick thing I like to mention before we start. Psychological-based games don't always have to be psychological horror games. It's why I'm calling them psychological-based games. There are many examples of games in this genre that aren't psychological horrors. It's just a large majority tends to be. Now then, with all the dibbery-do explanation stuff out of the way, let's get cracking with the actual video. What makes a good psychological game? Well, in order to find that out, I've decided I wanted to compare my highest and lowest ranking games on my psychological-based game list. Yes, I have a low list of these games. I've played every single one, besides bad things, because it's PC only, but we don't talk about that. I've seen hell and back playing these games, so I can safely say so far that these are the 2 worst and best games of the genre. Let's start with the worst, Pizza Time. This game is fairly short considering it is in beta, so it shouldn't take that long to give it a fair rating through a point system. Every time it does something right, I'll give it some points. Every time it does something wrong, negative points. I won't be doing this for bad things since I'm lazy and that game takes too long to analyze. But I'll be giving an analysis on that game and comparing and contrasting the 2 games at the end. But before we begin, random disclaimer. Yo, listen, do not harass any of the developers I'm going to mention in this video. I'm specifically talking about the developer Pizza Time. Do not send any hate to this creator. They seem like a genuinely nice person and they are actively working to improve their game, as I've seen on their TikTok. I have high hopes for their project since it's still a work in progress technically and I wish to see it flourish into something better. So don't go pushing them down or hating for no reason. Hate gets you nowhere. This video is simply to shed some constructive criticism on the issues with the game along with a lot of other common negatives in the psychologically based genre. I'm also not immune to bias, but I will be doing my best to simply rate and criticize with general opinion and nothing with personal preference. Let me know if anything seems biased. That's all. Stay silly, not dilly. Let's go. Oh, so before we start, I'd like to note that you may see a switch between gameplay clips because the game actually updated while I was recording a video of it from another person, so I decided to record all of the new footage and mix it in with the old, so. We started from our protagonist, Basil. Oh, he's dancing. He can dance. Little detail actually made me laugh, and I love it when games incorporate these fun little giggly things into their projects. Really add some personality to them. But this is a personal preference thing, so I won't be adding any points for this. Oh, and while I'm here, I might as well compliment the map design. It looks really nice, but I do have one problem with it. It's retro slop. Don't get me wrong, I have nothing against retro slop, but it's just the fact that this concept, this repetitive design for maps, it gets annoying after a while. It's used in almost every Roblox psychological based game, and I feel like we really need to do something different. So instead of like a usual 5 points for map design, I'm just gonna give you 3. I really like the cats. The cat and the dog are perfect. I will not be adding points for this, but I like them. This fountain being in the middle of the walkway low-key makes me mad, but I won't take points off of that. That's just a personal preference. There's some gays here too, but like, can't add points because it's not a showcase of good gay rep. It's gay rep, but not good or bad though. Just there. We go talk to our cashier friend, then we go serve the mysterious figure that's sitting alone in our restaurant, because that's a smart thing to do, Basil. That's really smart. We wake up again and, oh, everything's kind of low now. Everything's kind of depressing. Wow, where have I seen that from? Cat and dog are gone. I'm taking away 100 points. We're done with this game. This game is done. Done. You're canceled. Hey man, where'd everyone go? Why is this guy just here? Okay, I could excuse the sloppiness before, but right now it just doesn't make sense to me. Like, why is he just standing here waiting for them? I guess this might be something out of shift. I don't know. I'm gonna take points for this, I guess. Oh my, what's happening here? No, like, seriously, I feel like this scene needs more explanation because it kind of comes out of random. If you have extra lore, you can understand it, but without the extra lore, we don't really know what's going on, so negative 3 points. This is probably the worst part of the game in general. You have to walk down this long-ass hallway for no apparent reason. There is no dialogue, nothing that advances the story besides that one small point at the end of the hallway, and you have to listen to this annoying-ass music play on loop for a few minutes while you walk down at a very slow speed. It is annoying and it gives really no significance. Negative 5 points. I'm gonna be honest, this scene here is pretty sad, and honestly, it's one of my favorite parts of the game. It's just an emotional moment between a son or a girl, I don't know their gender, and a mother. It gives us more insight to the lore, and it is actually progressive. Okay, didn't we just meet this girl? Why is she already dead with little explanation as to why? This game really struggles with explaining the stuff without an outside source, and I think it's most evident here. Our friend is just dead by our hands now for some reason. -5. The scene also just feels like it's trying to make you feel bad, but it's failing. It just doesn't have any emotional lure to it. We didn't know this character much, so there's nothing to really mourn here. -2. These are the newer scenes, and I honestly have no problems with them. They're pretty well made. There's still some flaws, but not that much. So, +3. This is the second worst scene. The scene tries really hard to be emotional, but with the overlapping music that keeps looping, obviously looping, it's really hard to feel any sort of emotion in this moment. The floor looks crappy, and the design of the map seems really sloppy too. Not to mention the dialogue is kind of wanky too, like, he doesn't speak here, but he speaks in the entire rest of the game, which I don't really understand why. I guess that's just a character trait of his, but still, there's little to no explanation to it. I just don't like the scene in general. There's faults with it, a lot of faults, and I feel like if you wanted to make this scene more emotional, you'd have to fix a bit of things. So, -10. Now onto rating the endings, and you're gonna be surprised. I honestly think I like the bad ending more than I like the good ending. The bad ending has a lot more design put into it, and as you can see in this scene, which is my favorite so far, it looks really cool. You can see the pizza in the cell too, which kind of explains the name of the game. I would have penalized the game for having a wacky title, but I guess seeing the pizza in the cellar, that kind of makes sense. So I won't take or give any points for that. But this scene here really does show that the developer can do good things with this game. And I like the bad ending and how it was made. I don't think anything should change about the bad ending besides maybe a few scenes in the beginning. But so far, I really like how the bad ending was made. The good ending seems really incomplete, so I won't rate it right now since I think it's still in development, but it does seem pretty wanky made. And yeah, that's pizza time. Pretty bad that a game gets a negative score, but in this game's defense, it is still in development, technically. But I don't think that's an excuse to post an incomplete and overall pretty messy game. I do have hope for this game, but I'd say it does need a lot of work. Now that we've got that out of the way, let's move on to bad things.
How much signal I need to cut across 8 lane? None? I turn now. Good luck, everybody else!
It is zero surprise that this game comes up on top when talking about the best psychological-based Roblox games, and there's more than plenty of reasons to prove it. From having its own custom-made soundtrack to having fully animated and interactable scenes like the one you're seeing on screen now, this game truly masters every aspect of gameplay it dives into. Usually when I'm playing one of these psychological games, I happen to only either shit my pants or feel depressed. But with this one, I both shit my pants and was left feeling absolutely devastated at its ending and gameplay. This is a masterpiece, and I'm going to talk about why it is a masterpiece. The game stars two main protagonists, Ivan and Andrew. Ivan is the silly guy with the visor, meanwhile Andrew is the tough pink guy with the alien face. They're both childhood best friends. Cough, cough, the fucking game. There's so much proof to it. And they're both working on a game together. While you might criticize this game for using the usual retro slop style, I'm personally giving this game a pass because it utilizes the retro slop style with something I think is beautifully unique. It's something I like to call a bait and switch style. I've seen several games that have done this, stereotypical obby being my biggest example, but a bait and switch style is when a game either starts as one style and then shifts to a completely other style through the game, or it mixes in a completely different style with the current style it's using. Bad Things does the second choice here. It mixes in otherwise off-putting and unfitting texture into the usual retro slop style to create a more horror experience. And to be honest, it really works. It really makes you forget that you're playing a retro slop game, and that's why I love Bad Things. Let me stop yapping about how wonderfully designed this game is, though, and actually talk about the story itself. As I was saying before, the story is mostly shown from the POV of Ivan, one of the two developers for a game project that Andrew is the lead developer of. Andrew handles the asset building while Ivan handles the story creation. It's a mutual relationship that at first was working really well for the both of them. That is until Ivan started using plagiarized content in the storyline and tried to force Andrew in putting it into the game, which causes further dilemma later down the line and eventually snowballs so bad that it ends terribly for the both of them. I won't spoil the story much, but there is a few things I want to talk about when it comes to this game. The way this game portrays queer relationships is so good. It shows a more realistic relationship while still keeping the queer representation there. It's not shoved in your face or painfully obvious they're queer. They're just two dudes in a relationship that ends up turning toxic later on due to difficulties in life. It's a perfect representation of queer, and it's incredible how the dev captured it so casually. Another thing I'd like to mention is how lively the characters feel. They genuinely feel like two old friends talking to each other and going through life with each other. You can get really connected to the two because it feels like they're real. It feels like you're watching the life of two people. The emotional connection this game creates is incredible. The length is amazing too. I heard people complain that the game takes about 2 hours to complete, but honestly, that's a skill issue and an attention span issue on their end. All good stories usually drive on for a while to ensure that every part of it is told. I think the game is amazing how it is in terms of length. Overall, this game is perfect, and it's an underrated microscopic golden pin in a haystack compared to every other psychological Roblox game. All who have a PC and are watching this video, I heavily recommend you give this game a try. It's long, but it's worth it. Now, let's move on to the last part of the video, the comparison. Both games have their differences and strengths. They both have good character design and nice visuals at times, and they both use the retro slop style. Pizza Time struggles with telling a story, meanwhile Bad Things excels in telling a story. They're both very different, but they both tend to have similarities to each other. This is the same with every psychological-based Roblox game. They all share the same traits with each other and excel in things that others in the same genre do not. And what's the difference between them? Practice and passion. I'd say, with more practice and passion, you get a better quality game. So, with that said, the question still stands, the one we've been waiting to answer. What really makes a good psychological-based Roblox game? Truly, this is an open conversation, but in my perspective, a good psychological Roblox game is made from a good story and good gameplay. Sure, you can have a good game without a good story, but does it really impact you in any way? And you can have a good story without good gameplay, yeah, but does it really feel engaging and fun to play? I'd say the main thing you need to focus on is putting soul into your gameplay and story. If you really want to keep someone hooked, focus on making your game as passionately as possible. It's okay if you don't know how to. Writing a good story or coding can take time to learn. If you start, then you can only keep growing as you keep creating more and more. Focus on every asset of the game, from its soundtrack timing to its visuals to even its dialogue, and you'll have yourself something as great as Bad Things. You can start anywhere. You can have something that is on the same level as Pizza Time even, but as long as you put passion and hard work into it, you can turn that project into something incredible, something emotionally moving and brilliant. That is what I think makes a good psychologically based Roblox game. Passion. All you need is passion to make something great. Thank you for watching this long yap session. Goodbye, and remember to take care of yourself. See ya.